This plot of land is looking a little worse for wear. A little unkept, neglected, forgotten. But what if I told you that this plot of land lies at the centre of one of mankind's greatest discoveries? And how about this village? A quiet backwater hidden away from the world, deep in the hills of 𝐚𝐿𝐿. This too plays a key role in one of science's greatest leaps forward. What is it, or rather, who is it, that ties these things together? This is Alfred Russel Wallace, a prominent Victorian naturalist and explorer. And this is renowned Wallace expert and evolutionary biologist Dr. George Beccaloni. Together, we're sailing with SeaTrek on a journey to discover the story of Wallace. Who was he? And why is he so important?
Well, Wallace got very interested in the idea of evolution, then called transmutation, after he read a controversial book called Vestiges of the Natural History of Creation when he was in Wales in 1845, and then decided really he wanted to go off and continue his work trying to answer this question. And the Malay archipelago, as he called it, the area which is now Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, etc., was a kind of a biological black hole at the time. There were very few specimens of things from this region in European collections, especially in English collections. And, you know, the archipelago of thousands of islands might give some insights into the evolutionary process.
Wallace spent 8 years exploring the Malay archipelago in search of answers to his burning questions. It's safe to say that there was plenty of insights into the evolutionary process. Across the many SeaTrek expeditions throughout the year, we've encountered many of the species that Wallace observed. There's the Sulawesi crested macaque, the red bird of paradise, the Maleo bird of Sulawesi, and even brand new species that he discovered, like Wallace's golden bird-winged butterfly, or Wallace's standard wing bird of paradise. While sailing to Ternate, we stopped off at a remote speck of land in the middle of the Seram Sea. What is it about an island like this that excites a naturalist so much?
Well, there could be new and unnamed species here, because this island is very remote. It's about the remotest island that SeaTrek goes to. It's an uninhabited island, very, very steep, and almost certainly the remains of a eroded volcano. It might be very ancient, like, you know, millions of years old, and it's remote, as I said, so species that have got here might have actually speciated. There might be new things here because no other biologist that I know of has ever been here.
Exploring this remote island gives us a real insight into what Wallace would have been up to. The observations of geology. We find all kinds of volcanic rocks as we make our way up a dry riverbed. Thinking about how that geology impacts nature and the species that grow and flourish in any given place. The jungle pours in on both sides of the gorge. Tremendous ferns, mosses, blooming flowers. We even find the species of spider. Never seen it before. All these tiny little islands scattered across such a vast ocean, the archipelago. You've got 17,000 islands. Would you say that Indonesia in some ways was the perfect place for Wallace to kind of make his
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Wallace got his first insights into biogeography when he was in the Amazon and noticed that there were different butterfly and monkey species on either side of big rivers like the Amazon. And he began to think that maybe these barriers had somehow caused the speciation. And it was only reinforced massively when he came to Indonesia and found that, you know, there was a distinct biogeographic pattern, that the closer islands were together, the more similar species were. As you got further and further, they became more and more different. And yeah, he developed his biogeographical theories from his observations in this area.
So along this line, Ali, millions of years ago, when the world was a different shape, on that side, the species moved down from India. On this side, they moved up from Australia. The two continents moved closer and closer together, and somewhere, near to here, they met. Probably there. Under the sea. That's where the join comes.
And so, Wallace brings us to 𝐸𝐸𝐻.
This is a very significant site in terms of the history of world science, because Alfred Russel Wallace rented a house here for 4 years to use as his base for collecting expeditions to New Guinea and the surrounding area to collect new species of animals. And it was in this house that he wrote his very famous letter from 𝐸𝐸𝐻 to Charles Darwin. So it was a letter together with an essay, and the essay basically explained the theory of evolution by natural selection, which he had come up with when he was staying on the nearby island of 𝐚𝐿𝐿.
While many people believe that it's this house where Wallace resided in 𝐸𝐸𝐻, George has discovered otherwise.
So we've walked around the corner from the site where people used to think Wallace's house was to what we believe is the true location of the house. It's a derelict plot of land. It's been derelict ever since I've known him, and it would be absolutely brilliant to buy the land, clear it and build a replica of the house, because Wallace actually gave the floor plan, a map of the floor plan of his house, so we could accurately reconstruct it here and turn it into a museum about Wallace, his assistant Ali, and the biodiversity of this region, the Moluccas. But the important thing about Wallace's house is it's the actual site that he wrote his letter to Charles Darwin and enclosed together with his essay on evolution by natural selection. So he was actually sitting here all those years ago in 1858, writing this letter which changed history. And I always think it's great to be able to see the site where these great discoveries or events took place. And this is one such site. It's really important in terms of world history.
But wait, let's rewind. He had actually come up with a theory not here in 𝐸𝐸𝐻, but on the nearby island of
𝐚𝐿𝐿𝐻.
To investigate further, 𝐸𝐿𝐻𝐿 takes us across the stretch of water from 𝐸𝐸𝐻 to the island of 𝐚𝐿𝐻𝐿. We're heading to the village of 𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐻. At first glance, there doesn't appear to be much going on here. It's the very definition of what we would call a quiet backwater. It's quite remarkable this place still exists, all this time after Wallace. As in any Indonesian village worth its salt, there's a gang of naughty boys up to no good.
Bagus, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much to my envy, this lot even have a crumbling old colonial fort to play in all day long. It's a pretty unremarkable place by all accounts, and yet...
𝐷𝐷𝐿𝐻, the village where we are now, is one of the most important sites in the world in terms of the history of science, because it was here in this very village, in a house not far from here, we don't know the exact location, that Alfred Russel Wallace discovered independently the theory of evolution by natural selection, which was jointly published by him and Charles Darwin in 1858.
The strongest ones, or the ones who can run fastest, or the ones best fitted to the kind of...
That's it.
Why is the theory of evolution by natural selection such an important theory?
Well, because it explains why we are here and why everything else is here, the entire organic world. Without the intervention of God, that it's natural processes that have resulted in our existence and the existence of all other living things. And it's actually a practically important theory because it allows you to understand the evolution of disease, for instance. You know, why did the COVID virus develop sort of resistance? There's constant evolution, very quick evolution in bacteria and viruses to, especially bacteria to new antibiotics, etc. And that's explained by natural selection. That's the only theory that explains it.
It's quite fitting that he had malaria then when he actually came up with it.
Yep.
And I think it's amazing that this relatively, even today, this is a very sheltered backwater and it has such significance for the world.
Exactly.
And not many people know about it, really.
No, I'm hoping that many more, now that the monument's here, It's starting to get on the tourist itinerary.
Last year, SeaTrek helped install this plaque and information board, and local tour guides are beginning to benefit from the results.
Sudah banyak wisatawan yang lebih setelah monumen ini dibuat, banyak wisatawan yang datang ke sini.
So this is head of the village?
Yes.
Yeah, Rinto.
This is Rinto.
Yeah, he helped, with all of this.
Okay.
Bangga sekali.
Bangga sekali ya.
Dengan
Bagus.
adanya kunjungan tamu ini, saya sebagai pemerintah desa juga saya merasa bangga loh, karena tidak seperti dengan kampung-kampung yang lain.
While many only know Darwin as the father of evolution, Wallace was just as important. Out here, in the quiet corners of Indonesia, it's nice to see that being recognised. To discover more, head to SeaTrekBali.com.